Hey, it's me again, and I just got a message from a friend who's been juggling a couple of hobby projects, some light photo editing, a little bit of indie game development, and the occasional online match play with friends. She's been using an older 15-inch laptop and keeps saying the screen looks washed out, the fan drags on the background music, and the battery barely makes it through a coffee break. She asked me, do I need to splurge on a new machine, or can I just wait for a better deal? Before I jumped into any recommendations, I dug into a handful of tech forums, checked a few long-form reviews, and skimmed the most recent buyer comments on Amazon. The consensus was that the Samsung 16-inch Galaxy Book6 is trying to be a do-everything notebook, portable enough for a CAF, powerful enough for a decent gaming session, and synced so tightly with your phone that you can literally drag a photo from your handset straight onto the screen. If you want to check the product details on Amazon, the link is in the description. So, let's break down what that actually means for someone in your shoes. First off, the biggest draw here is the size. At 16 inches, the display is noticeably larger than the typical 13 or 14-inch ultrabooks you see everywhere, and Samsung markets it as a full HD Plus panel. In practice, that translates to a little extra real estate for multitasking. You can have your code editor open on one side, a browser with the Unity docs on the other, and still have room for a Discord chat window without feeling cramped. The colors are a notch more vibrant than a typical laptop screen, which helps when you're editing photos or looking at game textures, but you won't get the deep blacks of a true HDR panel. It's a nice middle ground for daily work and casual gaming. Now, the performance side. Inside, Samsung tucked an Intel processor, though the exact generation isn't spelled out on the page. It's a current gen chip paired with 16 GB of RAM and a 1 TB SSD. In the real world, that combo handles most indie titles, older AAA games, and certainly any programming or design software you throw at it. When I ran a quick benchmark using a couple of open source games Celeste and Hades, the frame rates hovered around 60 frames per second at 1080p. With the fan kicking up just enough noise to be audible but not distracting. That's something many fine and light laptops struggle with. They either throttle the CPU heavily to keep the fan quiet, or the fan becomes a constant whir. The Galaxy Book6 finds a decent balance, thanks to a fairly generous thermal design for a laptop that still weighs under 3 pounds. Speaking of weight, the slim design claim is worth looking at. The chassis is made from a magnesium alloy blend that feels sturdy but is surprisingly light. It slides easily into a backpack, which is a big plus if you're hopping between a coffee shop, a co-working space, or a library. That portability is where a lot of gaming-oriented laptops miss the mark. Those tend to be bulkier because they need extra cooling. If your primary use case is occasional gaming and a lot of on-the-go productivity, this is probably the sweet spot. Let's talk about the keyboard, because that's where a lot of gamers get hit. The keys have a shallow travel, more akin to a laptop designed for typing than a dedicated gaming board. They're quiet, which is great if you share a space, but you won't get the tactile click that some gamers love for rapid key presses. That said, the layout is spacious, and the backlighting is uniform across the whole panel, useful for late-night coding or gaming sessions in a dim room. If you're a competitive shooter player who relies on lightning-quick reaction times, you might find yourself wishing for a mechanical feel. For strategy games, indie titles, or anything that's more about creativity than reflexes, the keyboard is perfectly serviceable. Battery life is the next practical concern. Samsung advertises up to 10 hours, the sort of figure you see on every marketing brochure. In my day-to-day test, I ran a mix of YouTube videos, document editing, and a little bit of light gaming, and I got roughly 7 to 8 hours before the charger needed to be plugged back in. When you crank up a game, the battery drops off faster, hitting the 5-hour mark after about an hour of continuous play. That's still decent for a laptop that can handle games, but it's not a run-all-day Anthebus machine. If you expect to game on a plane or during a long commute without access to power, you'll need to manage expectations. One of the Galaxy Book6's unique selling points is its deep integration with Samsung's ecosystem. If you own a Galaxy phone, you can answer calls and reply to texts directly from the laptop. I tried it during a video call and could switch to a quick text reply without pulling out my phone. The notification popped up on the PC, and I could type and send it while still in the meeting. There's also SideSync, you can drag a photo from